Senator McKenzie.
Thank you, and through you, Mr President, I rise to take note of all answers to all questions asked by coalition senators. With 5 days to go, the continuing denial and arrogance of this Labor government beggars belief. And I would like to actually draw attention of the Senate to the young people. Senator Crossan mentioned young people and how they'll feel about this tax and our plans for addressing climate change. What they need to understand is that Australians actually don't want it. They didn't vote for it. They're screaming from their rooftops through poll after poll, through letters to the editor. They don't want it. And what the young people are here today to learn in our parliament is that we live in a democracy, and our role as representatives in that democracy is to actually reflect and do and conduct ourselves in a way that allows the will of the people to be expressed. And time again, this Labor government simply just does not get it right. What the Australian people do know is that this carbon tax will severely affect our international competitiveness. And I heard reference around the international perspective on this particular issue. And what we do know that in 3 months under this current proposal, Australians will pay what the Europeans have paid for in over 6 years. And I mean, that's the sort of brakes we're talking about putting on the Australian economy. In his answer, Minister Carr, he asked us a question: why do we oppose these payments? And I guess, and we won't talk about the self-funded retirees, because there's actually no environmental gain to be had from these payments. The reason we oppose them is because we oppose waste. It's quite simple. Small business is nowhere in the government's response to this. In fact, they're trying to gag small business around the actual very real impacts that this tax will have on running small business in this country, with fines of $1.1 million. Dairy farmers are nowhere, Senator Crossan. They are nowhere in this, and you know it. You know the impost that this particular tax will have on that sector of agricultural industry, a huge contributor to exporters in my own state, and you have nothing for them. $5,000 to $7,000 per year just for getting the milk out the farm gate, let alone the processing costs, let alone the transport costs come 2014, or the refrigeration costs, Senator Crossan. So don't... Anyway, employees in the food processing sector, employees in trucking from 2014, they're nowhere in your plan. A third of Australians live outside our capital cities, and once again Labor has, demonstrated so clearly they don't get us. They simply don't get us in policy after policy, whether it's youth allowance, whether it's education, whether it's health. They're nowhere for us outside capital cities. We're passionate about our environment. We live in it. We work with it every single day of our lives. And yet here we are bearing the brunt, yet again, of Labor failed policies. Our councils are bearing the brunt of your policies. Wagga Wagga, 660,000. Bendigo, in my own home state, 1.2 million, reflective of a potential 1.7% increase in rates for local Bendigonians. Our exporters, the 40,000 people directly employed by the dairy industry, largest exporter of our docks in Victoria, and I see Senator Kroger and Senator Fifield here, fellow Victorians. Largest exporter off our docks in Melbourne every day is Murray Goulburn, a dairy producer. Our social way of life out in the regions. We use our cars a lot. To get to football games, to get to hospitals, to get to community meetings, we use a lot of petrol or diesel. This will impact on our social way of life, and most importantly for us, our industries, our abattoirs, our food manufacturing sector, largest manufacturing sector in Australia with 225,000 employees, most of them located in the regions, severely impacted by this Labor Party policy. And you know why? Minister Wong skiding about ALP investment in regional Australia, it's a farce, because when you're on the side of politics that counts everywhere as regional Australia, it just makes the comment a real joke. I mean, I love the Cats, but $10 million to Skilled Stadium just doesn't fly in Strathfield, Say or Seymour. We're over it. Australians know it's a con, it's not going to change behaviour, but most concerning it's not going to assist the environment or change the climate. Thank you, Mr Deputy President.
Thank you, Senator McKenzie.